Hi gardeners, we have been busy today and you're about ready to see what happens when the garden is in full form today. We have harvested cabbage. We have five heads here. We have a half a dozen kohlrabi, and these are not leeks. These are our spring onions. So they're massive, and I thought you would enjoy the weighing party. We'll start with the heaviest of the kohlrabis. This is well over 4 inches around. If they get too much bigger than this, they'll start getting woody. The woodiness starts at the bottom and then works its way up. So I think we've caught it okay. 1 pound, 9.5 ounces for one kohlrabi. Now some of these smaller ones I think will actually be sweeter. Here's a more round, almost like softball size one. That'll probably go half pound. Let's see. 12.8 ounces. So here I trim back the leaves more. These leaves are edible. I just don't know how tough they are. You'll use a potato peeler or something. You can always snip off these nubs and then peel the skin just like you would on a potato. And then you have options. You can eat it raw, grate it over salads, or you can slice it or cube it and roast it. So the kohlrabi as a plant you really need to become acquainted with. It's absolutely magnificent. Here's 1 pound 2 ounces. Now the cabbage, we have dressed these down quite a bit. As you can see, there's some holes, and we have found slugs in them. So this is one of the problems with organic produce. Just make sure everybody understands that when you prepare this, make sure you get the bugs out. But as it dries off, the slugs aren't going to hang around. So let's see how heavy this one is. That is 4 pounds 2 ounces. Now, our lightest one here, this is about what you would expect to get in a grocery store. And that's still 1 pound 11 ounces. And this is fully dressed and ready to go. That is good cabbage. So we've got everything from just the big leaves taken off right down to what it would look like in a grocery store. And you can give people the choice, or you can have your own choice of how you want to eat it, how you want to prepare it. I'm a big coleslaw fan. Other people, I've even heard of fried cabbage, which is apparently a dish out in Hawaii, which I'm willing to try any day. So now what we're going to do is turn this off so that I can get this on and get a tare weight down of 0. Remember, the tare weight is the weight of the container, and we have to zero that out. Oops. And I blew that. There you go. There we are. So let's see what these 4 spring onions weigh. 1 pound 4 ounces. 1¼ pounds for 4 spring onions. That is a bounty. So you're probably wondering, well, what's the garden look like after you've done all that now? Well, let's take a tour, shall we? Our first stop will be at the end of the garden, and we're going to go take a look right there at our Swiss chard, which, as you can see, is forming giant stalks about ready to go to seed. And we'll take a close look at those. The leaves are still very edible. So we'll take a look at the Swiss chard and then work our way down. By the way, these are the last of the current crop that we're going to plant out. We have 3 more jade beans, and we have basil here that we're growing. And it's finally getting warm enough that the basil is taking off, and in a few weeks we'll be having basil for one of our herbs. Okay, so we'll be putting the last 3 of those beans in later today, and I'll show you where they're going to go. Yeah, Brad and I were up at the crack of dawn working on this. So this is a Swiss chard plant, now 5 feet tall, and if you come in closer you can see the seed pods here. So what looks like to be one seed will actually be several seeds in one spot. This one is also going to seed. We still have a couple down here that can produce nice leaves for salad, and we'll be harvesting more of these later. These leaves are still fine right here, and look at that, ladybug. Alrighty, stay around with us. One thing that I want to show you from our production from last year, these are seed pods from our bok choy, and there are literally hundreds of them. If you could really get in close here, I will take one apart. You just pull it straight off the pod, and you can see what remains. Now, this will split open, and there are your seeds. So we have literally thousands of bok choy seeds here. All right? And we'll put these right here, and we'll come back and get them later. There you are. Of course, I'm going to lose them all now. Okay. Next thing we look at is beets. Last year our beets were already forming nice bulbs. Here we have one or two. This beet right here is beginning to form the beet bulb there. They're behind. The beets are cooler. It's been a cooler temperature. The beets have not responded yet. These are aroma tomatoes. First flowers coming up already, and as you can see, we've got a lot of weeding to do. We had a rain, and these are the weeds that have popped up literally in just a few days. Over here on this side, we have two types of our beans. These are our Royal Burgundies, and you can see they're a beautiful purple flower here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them here. We lost one, and then we have 3 more at the end of this bed right here, also Royal Burgundies. Past the Royal Burgundies is our favorite right here, the Jade Bush beans. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 going. We have just finished making this bed up. So we have, this looks bad, but it's green compost. Think of this. This will break down in the bed and return the nutrients to it. So it's not going to grow back. We just let it nourish the bed. So we have room for about another 6 or 7 beans. We have 3 more over there, and maybe we can plant some more. Okay? Now, let's have fun with potatoes. There's one of our nice cabbage moths who can't find much in the way of cabbage anymore. As you can see, the flowers are now gone off of our Pontiac Reds, but we started the countdown on about the 12th of May. Once you have a flower on red potatoes, in 3 weeks, you're looking at new potatoes, and then 3 weeks thereafter, you're looking at your regular content, your regular crop, your regular harvest. So we'll get Pontiac Reds about the size of a good baseball or so. But as you can see, they're really lovely. They're just beginning to turn a little bit. You can see that in some of these, the bright green is gone, and the green is mellowing out here. See that? So I figure maybe 2 to 3 weeks. It's hard to say. Maybe we will pull 1 or 2. Okay? Here we have the remnants of cabbage. This cabbage is trying to form a head. These 2 cabbages are doing the same, and this head looks good, but it's still a little loose. We'll let it go for a few more days. This one is not tight at all. Getting toward the end, but in its place, we now have 5 straight neck squash. So we'll try to keep those going. You can hear the thunder in the background. Here's the garlic, beginning to change color. When to harvest garlic? Take a look at the middle leaves right here. We want the outside to be brown and the middle, say 4 or 5, to still have some green in them. That's when we really look at harvesting these. Here is our youngest bed of Yukon Golds. We sourced from 2 different places, and this source does not have quite as good a germination. You can see some holes in there. Nonetheless, these are going to be okay, but they're going to be a few weeks behind these crops over here. This is the bed where we're already starting to see the leaves turn. And this is getting a little orange here. So some of these are going to be harvested next week as an experiment to see where they stand, and then the rest will go later. Bed number 1 is also Yukon Gold. Now here, the last bed we'll talk about is bed 2. We have 3 more Roma tomatoes, and then we have what's left of our spring onions. As you can see, they're still massive, and some of them are going to get up to speed. This is the iffy carrots. There's big patches where they did not germinate, and then we have patches where we got a good stand going. These are bulb onions, and if you could zoom in, we got a nice bulb working right down there. These were planted in groups of, some are single and some are up to groups of 3 or 4. Here's what remains of the kohlrabi. As you can see, all the bulbs are looking nice. This will be harvested next week. Some of these are a little small, but not everything grows at the same speed. All of these will be harvested probably within 2 weeks. So that's where we stand now. We probably have almost 20 pounds of harvest today between kohlrabi and onions and cabbage. And we're going to have, well, we'll just have to see how we do on the potatoes. But if we average 40 pounds per bed, and we've got 40 beds, 160 pounds of potatoes, that's a lot of fun if you're growing your own food. Thanks a lot, everybody.